I received a comment on TikTok from my beautiful sister who is currently working on getting a driver's license. She is struggling. She wrote, "This is Langlachtene." I said, "Yes, 100%. She said, "You are filled with polls. This seems too far for me. Any advice, please?" I gave her my advice. I said, "My advice is search Ali Doking videos on YouTube from different content creators because we have time to explain everything in details. Select the method that works for you and study that method religiously." She said, "Aish, at the normal local ground, I can do it, but I will ask the people training me, they will give me a light." I mentioned a name. I said, "Do you think the problem is their training or your fear?" She came back and she said, "Fear." And if fear is the problem, because I had different thoughts, I was like saying, I have to tell her that the poles are stationary. Those poles are not moving anywhere. She's the one who's reversing towards the poles. And if she feels like those poles are too far, maybe she had eye problems, she has to fix that. Either she has to get glasses. If not, she has to understand that the problem might be that she's not mastering her mirrors. She's struggling with mastering her mirrors. Her mirrors are not adjusted well so that she can see those poles. Those are the reasons why poles can be too far from you. The third reason might be that she's occupied by fear. She's panicking a lot. She's not settled. I thought about it before you can even wrote that your problem is fear. So I wanted to use this example of shooting range, where we go for shooting and your poles will be the target. Your truck will be the bullet. You standing from there, you need to know that you have to deal with the eyesight. You need to deal with the side picture. You need to deal with alignment. When you are reversing your truck from that line to those poles. Alignment meaning when you're looking at that mirror and you are aligning that mirror with that pole that you were told about. And when you know that when you get to that space where you see that second pole and you need to start turning the steering wheel, that will be more like, this is going to be complicated if I'm using this analogy, but it works. When you are turning the steering wheel will be the representation of your trigger. That's where we speak about the trigger squeeze. So if you are not turning it the right way, that can affect your bullet, to change direction and land on different targets. But if you are squeezing the trigger the way you have to squeeze the trigger, meaning if you are turning the steering wheel exactly the same way they taught you, if they said 45 degrees, it's 45 degrees. If they said 90 degrees, it's 90 degrees. Meaning if you have to turn the steering wheel all the way and you're turning it exactly that way, your truck will get to that target, which is your pole. The same way when they taught us about the trigger squeeze and the breathing techniques, so that the direction of the bullet can go exactly where you're directing it when you are doing your sight alignment. When you're getting your sight picture, you are going to hit the target. The same method works when you are driving your truck. You're taking your truck from this direction to that direction, and the truck has to be in the middle of those poles without you making any mistake. Hearing only one is you. It's always the same size, always at the same position, always the same distance. That means the problem is you. And if the problem is fear, that means in order for you to get to the examiner, you have to work on the instructor. In order for you to get to the examiner, if the examiner is the problem, you fear the examiner, you need to master the instructor so that the instructor can get you to the examiner. This is how you do it. Many of you guys, you are making a mistake mostly when you go to the restaurant. I also did that mistake until I've learned that we get to the restaurant and we greeted by a waiter or a waitress. They give us a table. We sit on the table. We sit there at the table and they give us the menu and we choose what we're going to eat. She's right there or he's right there. Then we start talking because we're waiting for our food while they're preparing our food. And after we had a great meal, they bring the book, we pay the bill, and we also tip the waiter or the waitress, and we go home. And by doing it that way, you're just like any other client. There is nothing different between you and the person who was there 20 minutes before you. There is nothing different between you and the person who was there last week or last month. So in many occasions, in order for you to get things that you want to get, if you're desperate to get those things, you have to make moves and you have to be different. And this is how you easily do it, so that you can reduce that overthinking of the waiter or the waitress. You know you want to give her $100 tip. Why wait until you're done eating when you start showing gratitude? You know your intentions. Why don't you just talk to her or talk to him while you guys are taking orders? That, listen, I know you're working, and in my culture, my parents made me understand that a person do better when they have eaten. Here's $100. This is your tip. I need you to have it. I will sit on this table, order whatever that I'm going to order, and when we're done, when you bring our bill, I am going to write the tip that I know with the standard restaurant percentage, they will require me to tip you that much, because I know that in many occasions you guys are sharing that tip, and sometimes I know that if you guys are new, you are getting paid by tips. But that $100 I just gave you, so that at least you can have energy while you're busy doing your job. This is not a bribe. This is me appreciating you. This is me saying I see you and appreciate your service. By doing that, you are buying their attention. I'm telling you, while you're still at that restaurant, that person will pay attention to your table. Once you're calling, the person is right here. How can I help you, sir? I would like to have the same order, but this time I want to have takeaway right away. They are preparing everything for you because of you reduced the stress level that they were going to go through. Sometimes the person just got a job and they don't know how they're going to get home. Sometimes this person just got a job and there is nothing to eat at home. So by you giving that person money up front, by tipping them up front, they are going to make sure that you're getting the best service, so that next time when you come, you will remember them. And if it happens that next Sunday you come there, or next month you go there, they already remember who you are because of you stand out. You don't bribe them, you're buying their attention. Same way at the driving school. You go to a driving school, these people are training you. Pay attention to how these people are training you. Pay attention to how these guys treating people. Pay attention to the things that they're doing the most. So what you do now, you see that, okay, this person is giving me 1 hour of training. This is my driving lessons. But you arrive there an hour early. You sit. You watch that other person who is in the truck while they're busy doing the driving lesson. When they are done, it's your hour. You go in the truck and you're learning how to drive for that 1 hour. When you're done driving, you don't go home. You sit for another hour so that you can watch another person doing the same thing for another hour. So if they're giving all the students an hour a day for 7 days, that means in a week, everybody will be collecting 7 hours of driving lessons. But because of you were there 3 hours every day, you got 21 hours. You get 1 hour for the first person who comes before you. You got your own hour that makes it another, hour. Then you got another hour after you're done training. That means it's 3 hours a day, and that's 7 times 3, which is 21. These guys are not going to catch up because of you're learning before going to the truck, you're learning while you're in the truck, and you're also learning when you are not in the truck when you're done. So you're collecting so much data compared to all these other people who are training. And when you are sitting down, you're checking his behavior, how he's treating other people. He likes to smoke. He's impatient. You study him. Because he is the guy who will get you to the examiner. If you don't study him, if you don't study your instructor, you're going to have a problem with the examiner because of the instructor has information about the examiner that you don't know. So you need to get to him, but you have to make sure that you are not flirting with him. You just finesse the situation. You have to make it obvious that you are not doing all these things because of you want to date him. You see him as a brother. You see him as somebody who can help you. And how now you start working on him because of there is information that he has that you cannot get into simply because of the connection between you and the examiner. It's right there to the instructor. So when you're worried a lot about the examiner and you're not dealing with the instructor, you are robbing yourself a chance to get the information that you are not capable of getting because you are still a student. So you pay attention to what they're doing. This person is smoking. What kind of a cigarette are they smoking? Okay, this person is smoking cigarette and maybe this is Stuyvesant. You ask them, listen, I'm very grateful for the way you are teaching me how to drive. And I want to buy you a cigarette. But I wanted to ask you first, should we buy 20 cigarettes? And I'm doing this as your sister because of I appreciate what you're doing. I see that you're a good instructor, and I think I can learn a lot from you. And all these teachings that you're giving me, I believe that someday I will be a mother and I will teach my children how to drive. Someday I'll be a grandmom and I can teach my children how to drive because of the skill that you are giving me. Hype them. Make them believe that there is more than what they are doing. Because of you have to understand that that person is working for somebody. They don't own a driving school. And make them understand that they can get to a level or a stage whereby they can one day run their own driving schools. Work on that person. If it's really hot and you see that this person is struggling, in many occasions this person is drinking water or this person is drinking cold drink, someday shows up and be like, you know what, I just want to buy cold drink. Can we just pass to the store so that we can buy ourselves a cold drink? Make sure that you get 2 glasses. Even if it's 4 people, don't get 4 glasses. Get 2 because the intention is to get to him. Have your glass and his glass. Pour cold drink, drink there. Your intention is to get to him, not to them. If they want to get cold drink, they will use those glasses that you guys are using. That's how it's done. But if you're getting 4 glasses and it's 4 of you, that means you bought cold drink for 4 of you guys. So make it clear, you're buying cold drink for 2 of you guys, not for 4. So those who want cold drink, they should ask for glasses. That's it. We're not saying they're not going to drink. They will drink, but the intention is for you and him to drink that cold drink. Once you start doing those things, you start paying attention to what the person is saying. They got some stuff that they're dealing with. Find a way to solve their problems if you can solve their problems so that they can solve your bigger